Not typically the host of these things. Social anxiety will show a little bit. Uh, all right, let's do it. What's up, guys? Appreciate y'all joining. Hey, everyone who has joined us. This is the community update for Umoja. It is October 4th on Friday, and we've had a little bit of market correction and a whole ton of updates about the protocol, so we'll get into all of that. I want to welcome some special guests with us today. We have Chris, we have Caroline Keith, and we have Julian, all professionals in their own right. Obviously, many of you are already familiar with Carolina Keith and the truly insightful market analysis that he provides very graciously to the broader community and also to our spaces. But Chris, and he'll get into his introduction a bit later, also brings some deep insights in terms of the Bitcoin ecosystem as a whole. And then our head of protocol, Julian, is with us, who also co-leads our break room spaces on Thursdays. Will take us through some of kind of the technical obstacles that Umoja as a protocol is overcoming, how we overcome them, and also how to think about them as well. And then we'll end with our community manager, Oni, at the end for all those who want alpha and results on the factory. Of course, we always put that on the end, so that's way you gotta listen to all this, guys. I'm sorry, there's no way out, or you come back later. But I know that Omani is the star of the show right now. So with that, I'll quickly get into some updates. I will try to share my screen. If you see a YouTube tab open, I apologize. That's how I get through the 15-minute breaks between meetings. And then we will go from there. So the first thing is TGE. I know everybody's TGE crazy. I try to over communicate this as much as possible. So right now we're in final discussions with centralized exchanges, and we do plan to launch on a decentralized exchange as well. And then of course we're finalizing discussions with a highly ranked launchpad. One thing that the team has been very cautious about is not prematurely getting into launching on a centralized exchange in particular. Obviously, there's a lot of reputational implications in doing so. No matter how you wiggle it, and also, quite frankly, it's very expensive. There are listing fees, there are marketing fees, etc. And so it's something that we don't push and we don't cause a lack of transparency. By nature of us not wanting to share, it's because it's a very careful consideration that we have to make before blasting out to the world. But we are working on these things, hoping to get them settled by the end of next week. So you'll have a good 2 weeks of the month to prepare. And of course, again, the timeline is that we are looking to potentially, I'm not going to confirm it, potentially have the last community sale on the 24th, so the last week before the end of the month. And then we'll have TGE at the very end of the month. And that's also when we will have the airdrop period started as well. Again, we will always talk about this on all of the following meetings over the course of this month. And of course, we'll post it on X, on blogs, everywhere. So nobody DM me getting too mad. Okay, we're trying to over communicate as much as possible. So far, things are going well. The second thing is tokenomics. So I'm going to quickly share my screen, see if I can do this. Let's see if I can. Is Robbie going to execute this without messing up? I think he is. All right, great. So, I noticed that there was a little bit of confusion in tokenomics, honestly, because of all the different templates, flying around can be a confusing thing. So we've provided a video right here. So if you don't care to read any of this, there's a video explaining everything, why we've made the decisions that we've made. And also, and this is where the biggest point of confusion that I've seen is the difference between set allocations versus exhausted allocations. So I'll give you all guys an example. For investors and advisors, for example, you can allocate, 320 million tokens to investors, but it does not mean that allocation will be fully exhausted, right? You can't force investors to take tokens, and also sometimes you don't want to have investors, accept the tokens at all, right? You want to be. It's a very selective process and decision. You want to bring people within the ecosystem that actually provide value, that aren't just gonna rug the community or the team. And so there is a major difference between initial token distribution and the allocation set and what we call like utilized token allocations. Now, one thing that's really important is that this table 4, utilized token allocations, this means that of this allocation, this has actually been put to somebody. And this is actually going to affect the inflation schedule. How many tokens that are coming in, coming out month over month, right? So, really, really important that this is what affects inflation. This is all hypothetical for the most part when it comes to external parties like community sales, investors, advisors, marketing, etc. A great question is that if you have remaining tokens in a particular allocation, where does that go? It goes to the Treasury, which is then extended to community grants and additional marketing opportunities in the future. Right now, we are planning to set a vesting schedule for the Treasury itself over a 48-month period, and that's just to make sure that there are budgetary constraints to the Treasury. This hasn't typically been done in the past. If you look at the unis, makers, Aves, etc., this was not a thing. This is a recent design pattern, made to constrain the usage of tokens by the Treasury because protocol Treasury management is still very new in the space. The last thing that I would say is that if all else fails and you don't care about anything I said before, 16.1 million is the circulating supply on TGE as of now. Of course, we've made certain assumptions on this, which are listed below, but we don't need to go to them right now. This is publicly available. If you go to umoja.xyz and you go into our docs, just go to tokenomics. You will find this document as well as all the other documents explaining our mechanisms. So super, super important. Just wanted to quickly highlight that. And then for YBTC, so another super important thing and I'll make this a little slideshow, make it a little bit more formal. So YBTC is due to come out this October. Again, what is YBTC? YBTC is yield-bearing Bitcoin. It is 100% collateralized by Bitcoin. It earns you a 5 to 10% yield in Bitcoin, not points, not imaginary fairy tokens or whatever, literally in Bitcoin. And it is BTC principal protected, meaning that the Bitcoin that you put in is the minimum amount of Bitcoin that you take back out. And so right now, I can truly say that it is the lowest risk, highest yielding BTC liquid staking token in the world. And it has a phased approach because we don't want to sprint into things. We want to make sure that everyone's capital is safe and secure. So phase one, over the course of October to November, we will have a $1 million AUM cap. That just means that only $1 million worth of BTC can be deposited. We are overinsured for this amount. We have both general liability insurance, cybersecurity insurance, which does cover smart contract exploits. And that's underwritten by Lloyd's London, which is one of the best underwriters in the world. And additionally, we will be doing a final audit before this is available to anyone. We already have 3 previous audits from Hacken, Cyberscope, and from QuantStamp. And we have none other than our head of protocol, as I said before, who will talk more about the technical details of the protocol. The second phase will be November to December, and that will be an AUM cap of 10 million. So starting to ramp up, get more serious. And then after that, hopefully during a bull market period, we will see from our 2 amazing kind of market analysts, with us today. We will be uncapped going December onward, and where the target will be 100 million TVL by the end of Q4 2025 / Q1, or Q4 2024 actually, and Q1 2025. So very, very quick overview. Again, we'll over communicate this as well. You can actually go to a very new page that we created, umoja.xyz/YBTC, and we have a whole page just about this. So if you want to join the wait list, learn more about it, you can do so here. And if you haven't read our white paper or our purple paper, you can of course learn more about smart coins more generally. And yeah, and then last but not least, almost done, guys. We do have some amazing upcoming partnerships to talk to. So the first is that we will be sponsoring Bitcoin Amsterdam and Bitcoin Mina. Bitcoin Mina, I believe, is in Abu Dhabi, and that will be in December. Bitcoin Amsterdam is next week. So if you're in Europe or if you're in the neighborhood, say hi. I will be there. And if you have feedback and you don't want to say hi and you just want to yell at me, you can also do that as well. I will take that feedback, and I promise I won't cry. But outside of that, we are making Umoja and smart coins omni fungible token compatible. Julian will talk more to that. And so I have an upcoming partnership, ideally with Layer Zero, We have some top tier Bitcoin L2s. You all already know that we've formed a partnership with Merlin. We have another one that I will announce hopefully later, and of course a lot of major restaking protocols and lending protocols so that you can maximize your usage of YBTC. So our job is not only to enable you to earn a 5 to 10% yield on your Bitcoin, but also to leverage that asset across other DeFi protocols so that you can maximize that yield as much as possible. So hopefully over the course of the rest of this month, you will see partnership after partnership after partnership on X, and it'll spell all good things, and we'll have a great TGE, and everybody will be happy. Okay? That's at least what we're going for. And then updates on the factory, and we'll get more into the results and all the alpha that Omni has. But over this past month, we've had over 8,000 participants on the factory. So Omni, Karima, Sasaya, shout out to y'all. That's our factory team. That's why when I'm in the Discord and they'll ask me questions on the factory, I'm like, guys, I'm not the one. More on the protocol side. Over $7,000 USDC dispersed so far. Nearly 600,000 emojis have been earned. Almost 1,200 quests have been completed. So, guys, the data's clear. Umoja Army is stronger than ever. And I really do appreciate it because it's real. It's not botted. So that's great. And with that, I will stop sharing my screen. We will go to a tech deep dive by Julian discussing consensus mechanisms, some on-chain, off-chain dynamics of the protocol, and then we'll go to market analysis with Caroline Keith and with Chris, and end with Omni on factory updates. So, Julian, I will pass it off to you, brother.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Hope you can hear me okay. So yeah, I'm Julian. I am the protocol lead at Umoja, and I handle everything smart contracts. Smart contracts is very much my passion. I love this stuff. I love building decentralized applications, and just building out software that exists on the blockchain. So I'm really excited about our latest product, YBTC, or I should ultimately say smart coins in general, because we're building out the end goal is to build out an entire ecosystem here. But yeah, I mean, I'll start off, and just talk a little bit just about security. Our number one priority ultimately is security. And a great challenge that we've had is, and if you're familiar with smart contracts, right? There's there are sort of limits. What you can, what you can't do, what's risky, what's feasible. And yeah, we've had a great amount of challenge sort of when it comes to balancing. What is going to be a secure contract, but also feature packed. So making sure that we've got significant security details in place. But at the same time, ensuring that we're still launching with a strong set of features, right? So, with regards to YBTC, I mean, this is, I think, the topic that everyone is most excited for. When it comes to the smart contract side of things, or actually, no, sorry. First thing I'll mention is in terms of YBTC and smart coins in general, there's really two components because. The yield generating side of it occurs with a combination of off-chain and on-chain components. We're using we're combining centralized exchanges with decentralized exchanges, which is absolutely fascinating. And we have frameworks in place to facilitate both of those and make them work together. Right? Lots of challenges there. Lots of work has been done to make sure it's a seamless process. On the smart contract side of things, we have some fascinating logic when it comes to the minting and burning process. Actually, Robbie, I was going to ask, how much detail exactly do you want? Because I mean, there's a lot that we could go over, but if you know what I mean when it comes to what we need, yeah.
You can spill a little alpha, brother. I won't get mad at you. Hey, this is the alpha channel, man. Spill a little
All
bit.
right.
We do wanna keep things relatively brief because I know that Chris has to leave in a bit, so I want to make sure that we get to him. But yeah. Talk your talk, and then we'll get to market analysis.
All right, no worries. So yeah, When it came for me to design the smart contracts for YBTC, we actually designed it from a perspective that there's going to be multiple smart coins. So YBTC is not the only smart coin that's coming up; it's just the first one. But the contract is already set up from the get go to support multiple smart coins. So the real alpha here is that when you mint smart coins, you don't just receive YBTC or whatever smart coin we have in the future. You will actually also receive Umoja tokens as a bonus for minting smart coins. We have a mechanism in place that's going to award Umoja tokens to those who mint smart coins. So this is an incentive mechanism for users to actually deposit their assets and mint smart coins directly, as opposed to if you buy on the secondhand market, right? On the flip side, there is also a burn fee. So if you were to withdraw, or so if you were to burn your smart coins, you wanted to claim you wanted to claim your Bitcoin back. There is a small emoji fee in place there. On the flip side, however, that emoji gets burned. So we're actually reducing supply of Umoja, right? So in theory, I mean, we kind of want people to do this because we're also then reducing the supply of Umoja, which I think is great. The rewards follow a halving or a halving cycle. So based on a certain amount of or every certain amount of USD that or total USD value that's minted, eventually we have the reward or we have the amount or the emission rate of Umoja for minting. It also reduces the burn cost. So for those of you who are like, oh no, there's a burn cost associated, don't worry, because once that halving hits, that actually drops down. It becomes cheaper to burn your YBTC. So we have this all set up on the smart contract. Very very exciting stuff. Besides that, I also wanted to speak a little bit about the Umoja token itself, as well as smart contracts. So another cool feature that we've got, we know that chain interoperability is a very, very important topic in this space. So yield-bearing Bitcoin, YBTC, as well as the Umoja token, is actually going to be integrated with Layer 0. They're going to be OFT tokens, meaning that these tokens will be existing on multi-chain. And this is pretty much going to happen, I think, right away or very, very soon, very, very close to launch. So, you don't have to worry about, you don't have to really worry too much about, the chain that you choose. We're going to be supporting many different chains for both the Umoja token as well as YBTC.
Go. Is that it? We're good? That's that easy. He's like,
So,
that's
yeah, I think so.
oh, all right. Oh, hey, no. That was great. You explained it very, very clearly and very well. So, guys, y'all will learn more about this. But what Julian's talking about in terms of mint and burn dynamics around smart coins, the need to expand the liquidity ecosystem, and facilitating partnerships like Layer Zero will not only allow you to enjoy, minting smart coins and earning APY, but also provide a lot of benefits beyond that. So next up, I will exit our solo layout. I'll bring our panel back. We'll have Chris do a quick Bitcoin analysis first, because I know that you have to leave a little shortly. Then we'll move on to Carolina Keith to look at crypto as a whole, because as you all know, prices have been so great the last few days. A lot of people scared, a lot of people trade on the news, but Carolina Keys will set you straight because he has some rules about that. So, Chris, just let everybody know kind of what is your thoughts on the state of Bitcoin as it is right now, both with regards to the market, but then also generally the ecosystem as a whole.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, so thankful for the invite, and I also wanted to give Emoja and you your flowers. I've been watching you guys for a while, and obviously you guys are on a tear. I think you guys are doing everything right, and it's above board, man. The excellence, the quality. So just salute to you all. For any of you all who might be on the user side of these protocols, and you have expectations and thoughts and concerns, just know that this is not easy work. It's really, really, really difficult. and to see Umoja really step into it at a very high level and even try to innovate and go beyond what is the norm. Just bravo to you guys and the team. Just amazing work all around. Could
Well,
not enter this space without saying that. It's very, very important, because building in Web3 is very difficult and kind of a lonely road. We need encouragement. Now, from the standpoint of Bitcoin, I look at things from the lens of developers. So, in order for us to have decentralized ecosystems, we need builders. So, I have some stats that I wanted to share from an Electric Capital report talking about all of the builders that are full time in Web3. Full time devs, roughly 7,600. Monthly active devs, 26,000 ish. If we were to look at Ethereum, roughly 2,700. If we were to look at Arbitrum, 700. If we were to look at Lightning, this is where stuff gets interesting with the Bitcoin landscape. Full time devs as of July 1st of this year, 109. Rootstock, which is an EVM sidechain for Bitcoin, 23 full devs. Stacks, 55 full devs. Bitcoin, 358 full devs. So while people are looking at number go up, I'm looking at, okay, in order for us to get number go up potentially, not financial advice, we have to look at who's building this freeway, who's building the skyscrapers of Bitcoin infrastructure. RBTC, YBTC, SBTC, all of these variations and outputs, it's going to require heavy lifting on the behalf of users from companies, entities, or solo developers that are just hacking away on GitHub. We still need more. So I think we're at this watershed moment where mainstream is looking and saying, wait a minute, we were kind of wrong about Bitcoin. So we're going to like recant certain statements and secretly try to get all of our colleagues in before it's too late, which is, we kind of saw that coming. I've been in this industry for nearly a decade, and we've been saying like people are probably going to want to get in on this. So that's happening with the BlackRocks, the Fidelities, et cetera. But I think that there's still an inflection point that's yet to happen from the standpoint of growth from developers that are going to be building on Bitcoin. And why is that? Because Bitcoin is kind of cumbersome to build on. You have what BitScript, Miniscript. If you use something like Rootstock, there's obviously the Solidity thing. If you use Stacks, there's Clarity. And there are differences and nuances between Clarity and Solidity. So with that said, I'm curious what the next year is going to look like beyond, obviously number go up, beyond YBTC launching successfully in smart coins and everything. So I'm very encouraged to see the growth, the incremental growth, to see more Bitcoin hackathons, to see more protocols such as Umoja think cognitively and consciously around like how can we innovate on this $1.2 trillion asset that's flipped the world on top of its head. So that's a little bit of what I have, and I'm happy to do a little bit of banter if you guys have any thoughts concerning that.
no, no. I mean, well, one, I love when you drop the developer stats because it is essential. And when people talk about the BitVM ecosystem and its potential to topple or certainly shift, EVM dominance. Obviously, the number of developers is a massive part of that. And for those listening, I know that we do have developers in the audience. You know, this is not only a great analysis is to understand when an ecosystem needs to thrive, and to his point, hopefully market price, follows that, but where opportunities lie, right? I mean, the fact you said 23, like 100, like that's crazy. That's crazy. And these are things like Lightning Network is recently adopted by Coinbase this year. And so yeah, I'm just astounded by those metrics in and of itself. I mean, what do you think are the biggest obstacles to BitVM adoption? Obviously, we've seen a ton of. I think there's like over 80 Bitcoin L2s, that have launched over the past year, and it looks like this is going to be the next macro narrative for crypto, as a whole. Meme coins is really holding on to that title right now. But what do you? I swear to God, like it's just like I don't understand. But what do you think are the biggest obstacles to BitVM actually becoming a usable chain for applications?
Yeah, because it's certainly not dog with hat. It's certainly not, like the meme coin thing is hilarious to me, but obviously humans psychologically want an element of speculation. So like I get that. And when you look at certain things like Bitcoin, it's like, okay, store of value. Wait a minute, this narrative of building on Bitcoin is kind of growing. Cool. I still am trying to figure that part out, but I know that if I'm in El Salvador, I can use this as a divisible instrument to like buy and sell. In South Africa, where I actually have family, and I'm relocating in a little while, you can buy groceries with Bitcoin. So like the narrative, depending on geographical location, varies. But I think one thing that's going to help is when people realize that we're still at the stage where people are just finding gold in California. We're still at that point where people are understanding, like, oh, wait, I can actually build on Bitcoin and it be a foundation for the software that I'm launching. Okay, so who's going to build the Microsoft of Bitcoin? Who's going to build the Meta of Bitcoin? Who's going to pioneer what a Web3 SaaS is on Bitcoin? Those are the components that I think people are still navigating. And that's why there are tons of papers, white papers floating around, light papers floating around. There are infrastructure layers like Arch Network. There are layer zero outputs for Bitcoin. All of these different things are very new and nascent still. And to be honest, there's still the element of a scam where people are just going around the world using buzzwords, raising venture capital, and then they're just traveling to conferences, saying like, "Hey, our Bitcoin L2 is coming soon, or Bitcoin L3 is coming soon." So once we get through that, out of the 80 that you mentioned, I think there are probably going to be maybe 50 that like stand. And then after that 50, there'll probably be 30. And after that 30, there'll probably be like 19-ish. And that's where we'll really see like, okay, this isn't vaporware. Like they're actually building things. They're actually deploying things. Oh, I can leverage this open source SDK and I can like tinker and be connected to liquidity pools connected by smart contracts that trigger things on Bitcoin or may even have Bitcoin finality. So once that becomes more available, like Ethereum's ecosystem and Arbitrum and Optimism, where the liquidity is there, the developer interest is there, but there's also kind of like a path of success. If I'm looking at success based on velocity of a token, I would have to look at something like Pump Fund. I would have to look at something like Poly Markets. So they're like these case studies. I don't think Bitcoin has really had like that case study moment where it can be replicated and innovated. We have at a protocol level, obviously something like, YBTC that's launching, which is going to push the narrative even further. So I think developers still have time to imagine, envision, and dream. And that's where we'll get the greater output of a bit VM environment.
If there's anything I could add, and I really enjoy this topic. I think you bring up some interesting points, especially the stats. I think for me, that's just really interesting to know. But a trend that I've been noticing recently is that I've noticed that smart contracts have been, or yeah, smart contract development and stuff. So that's applications over top of blockchain. It's been trending more towards the direction of parallelism. Whereas right now with EVM, for example, Ethereum based smart contracts, everything has to be, oh, what's the word for it? Well, not parallel. Everything has to be sequential, right? But we're moving more towards a trend where we're starting to enable parallelism in smart contracts, and I believe that this is possible on the alternative virtual machines. I believe Solana, for example. But what I'm starting to notice is that there are projects now appearing that are actually enabling multiple virtual machines on a single blockchain network, and I think that that's fascinating. And I think that really unlocks a lot of opportunities. So like what you're mentioning about BitVM, right? If we've got these projects that are enabling multiple virtual machines to be run in parallel on a single blockchain, I think that can really open up the door for adoption to these alternative virtual machines. Because right now, I mean, I think that the reality is that EVM is the top dog. It continues to be the top dog. But like I had this conversation even a few years back, and people were saying that Solidity's time is limited. There will come a point in time where we will move away from this technology. We will adopt more modern features like parallelism, for example. And I think that I think that bringing together multiple VMs is a step in that direction, because right now developers are sort of fixed in their ecosystem, and I'm guilty of that myself. Because that's I've been sort of fixed in the Ethereum ecosystem, and I've been just staying there, right? But I know that if that becomes merged with different ecosystems with different VMs, that'll probably make it more likely for me to want to adapt to those standards as well. So
Yeah, all of that's fair. I think we're at a really good point. We're at that like early innovation, early adoption phase where there's still like this great canyon, but with that, there's so much opportunity for people that can bridge that canyon. And that's why I'm really excited about Umoja, what you guys are doing. You guys are killing it. Always rooting for you guys. Consider me a friend of Umoja forever. And anything that I can do to help, I'm happy to do so. You guys are killing it, and I'm excited for what's coming.
Hey man, I appreciate the love, and one thing that I always say in terms of support is feedback. Tell us apologies for my language. We have a rather liberal language culture here, but if anything is shit, tell me it's shit, right? I think that's the biggest way to grow. Because to your point, this stuff is hard, and I really do think that one of the things that I think that crypto is lacking, it really does need to accept, is just accountability, and just knowing that you need to do things the right way. Even with meme coins, I think that there's a base standard for everything that you're doing. I think Bonk is setting the standard for meme coins, right? And so any type of thing, because it's weird times, and we just don't really have any more room for scandals and massive exploits and things of that nature. But no, I do appreciate your comments, and I think you've added a lot of richness to this discussion, because a lot of people still aren't talking about the Bitcoin ecosystem in this way, and I really do think that they should. The focus still, to Julian's point, is that an EVM, or what's going on in Solana, which are good things, but I want people to sleep. I do want to get to Carolina Keith real quick, because there's a lot of things that have been happening, and a lot of us don't know what is going on right now. There's something about missiles and Iran and Israel, and market coming down from this high that we had for about around a week after the rate reductions. So Carolina Keith, please give us some perspective as to what the hell is going on, so that we understand what we should be paying attention to and what we shouldn't be paying attention to.
Well, perfect. My stuff's pretty easy. Everybody just relax. Everything's gonna be fine. A lot of hype for a whole bunch of nothing so far. I don't ever get wrapped up in narratives, and I'll tell you why. The narratives only affect you if you have any idea what you're talking about. And this isn't criticism for anyone. Everything y'all guys just said was very technical, very interesting to hear. However, 99% of people don't want to hear it. They have no idea what you're talking about, couldn't understand it if you wrote it down for them. The hardest part of this is teaching people how to be interested in it. All right. I am hella into crypto, and I have been for years. It's very difficult to take what y'all said and make it easy for everyone to understand. This is why things like Facebook caught on, because it was easy to look at a page that describes yourself, big blue buttons to hit that says like or don't like, big blue blocks that you can type in that say, hey, I'm going to the store today. It didn't just happen. It had to be easy to happen, right? And I would say that a lot of what y'all described is more difficult for the average person to do. So we haven't quite hit that spot yet where things are easy for everyone to jump on, learn, grow, develop, etc. It will eventually happen. And that's how you can look at things and go, man, we are super early at this because we haven't even got into technical stuff yet, right? And that's essentially why we have charts. That's essentially why I care about charts, because it removes all that from me and makes it simple for me to look at the market and go, I'm not exactly sure. So I've got on the chart here very simple stuff. This is just an uptrend that we've had since 2023. The red line indicates this is an uptrend. It's consolidating. It has been consolidating, which just means going sideways in real fancy terms for about 6 months now. It absolutely sucks to watch something go sideways. What I want to highlight here is this isn't a bad thing. Us going sideways at a very high level like we are is only more bullish. Bullish meaning going up. So while we're stuck in range and while it kind of stinks that nothing's doing what we want it to do, this is the optimal time. This is the optimal time to make a plan and get your plan together for what you want to do. I can look at the charts and I can tell that we are a week or three away from a breakout. We are approaching breakout levels. We might not have hit them yet. We might not have crossed them yet, but we are approaching them. Um, Altcoins would be a bit of a signal for that. They never really go first. A thing about economics that not a lot of people know is only trickle down economics works. We have empirical evidence all through history that only trickle down economics works. And crypto is an excellent example of that. It's always been that way for crypto. Bitcoin goes first, after Bitcoin, then Ethereum, after Ethereum, then altcoins, after altcoins, which are usually mid cap. Then you go down to lower caps, and then you get down to the really, really crappy ones. Then you get down to meme coins, and all that money comes from the top, slowly works its way down. And as it's happening, that spurs excitement, more money comes in. We haven't had that happen yet. All we've had happen so far is a big pull up from the bottom, which was essentially old money trying to find a footing. We had ETFs come in and add some money to the pot, but as they added money, the old money just kind of took money out, thought about it, and realized, hey, maybe I don't want to be in this anymore. Market's still kind of neutral at the moment, and it doesn't look like it on the chart because it's been boring. Things are about to break out. You have a week or three to make a decision on what you want to do here. We have evidence from multiple different points here that we're hanging out above support, and it's playing around, it's playing dangerous games. But for the most part, everything's still okay. It's not quite there. And I'll give you one more here. This is a side by side from 2016 to now. I don't like fractals in particular, but what I do realize is that Bitcoin is a mathematical machine and you can't stop it. I think everyone here would agree with that. It literally cannot be stopped. The only way to stop it would be to turn off the internet. Pause. That literally just happened to me for a week. All right, so that will stop it. There'll always be a little need for cash because I found that out the last week, not having any internet, not having any cell service. The only way you could purchase anything around me for the last week was cash. Crypto was absolutely 100% useless for me, and that's where most of my money is. You could see how that might be a problem for me. But what I will say is the price action, the structure will be the same, not the percentages, but the price action and the structure will be similar to what it was before. 2016 is on the left. I have it marked same time 8 years ago because this is the exact same week 8 years ago that we were in. As you see, there's our halving line. Here's our halving line now. Here's where we are currently. You can see that things aren't that much different. If anything, things are at a higher level than they were in 2016. They're at a higher level than they were in 2020. I could pull that up too. It's not really that complicated to see. It's pretty much identical there. Same spot 4 years ago. I can move that over one space like that. And you can kind of see that we're doing a similar thing. It's sideways since halving, kind of chopping around thinking about it, but we're on the precipice of a breakout. What do we need to see for that breakout? Glad everyone asked. We're as long as we're above the 50-week moving average, everything's fine. That's the yellow line that you see right here. We're well above the 50-week moving average. There's nothing to do but sit back and wait for the gains to come in. I think they still last out till roughly likely tax time next year. That doesn't mean everything will go straight up. That's not how it works. We will have chop. We will have some down. There'll be more up than anything else, though. And that should start here in the next few weeks, last out through the election, which is only going to make things stronger. Through the election, through the new year, we'll have ups and downs, like I said, but all the way through tax time, we should get a fair push from the entire market. That does not mean it's altcoin season. So everyone stop with that. Altcoin season will be in 2025. Everything's going to ride the coattails of Bitcoin, and that's not a bad thing. I'm extremely, extremely hopeful for all this. Been in this for a long time, been waiting on this for a long time. We're finally at the tipping point here. And I think everyone's going to make a lot of money moving forward for the next 6 months. I hope everyone's prepared and has a plan.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen a lot of calls. A lot of people are saying like, altcoin season in November. I'm like, guys, I don't think it's gonna work out that way.
Yep. I don't think things will do bad. I don't think altcoins won't go up. That's not what I'm saying. So everyone knows. I'm saying that you're not going to have crazy exponential moves from most
Yeah.
altcoins until 2025. There will be exceptions. There's always exceptions. But for the most part, everything's going to ride coattails on Bitcoin till Bitcoin tops out. Then you'll get your trickle down economics. Bitcoin will suffer a little bit when it goes way up. Everything will. It will give some of those gains up to altcoins. When that happens, then the new money comes in. All right. Then Bitcoin goes right back up to where it was. This is just part of the process. We've seen this happen 3 other times with Bitcoin. It's going to happen again. It's a mathematical machine that cannot be stopped. And that's why I like it so much.
Are there any, not to get, too speculative, but are there any, I mean, which altcoins do you think are going to react, first when you see
So,
that switch in market dominance? Because I know that a lot of people have been pretty concerned with ETH's performance,
mhm.
and you and I have talked about, ETH being kind of, uh, or I guess, underbought. Yeah. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I would agree. ETH's been a little bit of a stinker. Since the ETFs come in, you would have thought you would have seen some sort of buy pressure. And if anything, this proved exactly our point. None of that matters in the long run. We need the chart to be bullish and we need more buyers than sellers. If you do not have more buyers than sellers, you do not have an uptrend. You just have a bunch of stalemate. And that's what Ethereum's been for the last several months, stalemate, worse than Bitcoin. Um, so if you were to ask me what altcoins would do well, I would tell you that anything that's at a higher level from 2023 to now should continue to run in front of others. And some examples would be Solana, AVAX, Link, Render, which no one talks about. Render's near all-time high. Binance Coin, which everyone seems to have forgotten about because they think CZ caused all that. No, Binance Coin's near all-time high. Ton, Fetch AI, FTM, believe it or not, all these altcoins that are mid cap to upper cap, um, those seem to be holding the line more well than others. And moving forward, those will kind of front run most altcoins. And by most altcoins, I mean Cardano, XLM, XRP, Filecoin, Mana, Optimism, VT, Credit, half a dozen thousand others. Matic. Oh man, how bad has Matic been? And if you look at it, say, oh no, Matic's a good solid L1. They got look at the chart. It's near cycle lows. We have to call spades spades, and when things look bad, we have to say it. Um, you'll still have really good performance from Doge, really good performance from SHIB. They're not going away. Those are billions of dollars. They're not going away. Will they continue to have the unprecedented success they had before? Likely not, but they'll do really well. That doesn't mean the other ones won't do good. They'll just kind of come after everything else gets their bite off the table first. Think about this when y'all had families, when y'all were kids. How did everyone eat, right? Okay. The parents eat first. They get the big bites. They decide how much the kids get. They give the food out to the kids. The kids eat. If there's leftovers, the kids eat more. Right. This has been the same way for wolf packs, for anything you can think of, right? The big dogs eat first, and then everything trickles down. That will happen. That will happen. It's going to be a little slower than people want it to be, but 2025 is going to be amazing, and everyone should buckle up and prepare. I know I sound like a Super Bowl right now. That's not the case. I'm usually more bearish than bullish. It's just the wrong time to be bearish.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Guys, before we go on to the next section, anyone in the chat have any questions for Carolina Keith or for Chris? And I know that a few of you have asked about where is Keith getting these magical insights from. It's not magic. It's fundamental technical analysis. Keith actually teaches this. I'm actually one of his students. I can personally vouch for just one, how caring and patient he is as a person, but also how vested he is in his craft, and he's gone all the way from the bottom up. So if you
Yep.
all are interested in learning that, I put his link there. You can also follow him on Twitter. Also follow Chris as well. Carolina Keith, I don't know if you want to say a few words to that. in terms of people just asking about where they can learn things like this.
Yeah, so I've been doing TA since really hardcore since 2018. I was doing it before then, but I was failing miserably. It took a long time to get to this point, and I did it the hard way and the wrong way for a really long time. Doesn't have to be like that. You can do it the easy way. I would prefer if everyone did it the easy way. People ask me all the time, how long does this stuff take to learn? For you, for what we're doing, 5 to 15 minutes a day. No excuses. While you're sitting on the toilet, instead of scrolling TikTok or Instagram, scroll charts. Watch some instructional videos on how to do this. Don't read the back of the air freshener can. Learn how to chart. It's not really that complicated. It's way easier than we make it out to be. Have a whole series of free videos in our Discord. It's also free on X. I'm Carolina Keith _1 almost everywhere. Also, I'm on YouTube, TA with Keith Lay. We do this live every single Thursday in front of everyone, so everyone can see it. Trying to hide anything, try to keep everything out in the open so everyone can see it and learn it and be a part of it. It's a very niche thing still, and it shouldn't be. People have no idea what's going on in the background, no idea how to maximize gains and minimize losses. Minimizing losses isn't something that's happening yet. Everyone's just taking their losses and going, oh, well, it'll be fine. Shocking news for you folks. This won't last forever. So you better have a plan to stop when the time comes. My plan into 2025, that's my point where I'm stopping. I'm happy to tell everybody I'm stopping because that's the market cycle. The end of 2025 into the beginning of 2026 will be the top. What are you going to do? You're just going to hold everything? You're going to hold on to everything and watch it drop 90% in value like we've watched it happen 3 times before? Do you think it's going to magically change? And if so, what's your evidence that it'll magically change? Let's talk about it. These are the things we do every single day, 24/7, nonstop, 365. I know it seems insane. I don't want you to do that, but I would like you to spend 5 to 15 minutes a day learning how to do this.
Well, you heard it first, guys. And last but not least, we have Omoniyi with our factory updates and a little bit of alpha. So, Omoniyi, I'll give you the stage. And Chris and Carolina, Keith and Julian, very much appreciate y'all's analyses. And guys, again, follow each of these individuals. They provide amazing insights. I personally learn from them a great deal. And hopefully, we'll have them back as well. But, Omoniyi, I'll give you center stage.
Okay, GM guys, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so GM guys, thanks for joining the call. So as far as factory updates, so the factory open was live on Wednesday and is going to end this next week Wednesday. So and there's going to be like a voting round from Thursday to Friday. And on Friday, we are going to be choosing the best content winner. So we are going to be choosing the best content winner on the Friday, like on our next community call. And top 50 on the leaderboard are going to be picked and rewarded with 2K USDC. So, and the update we have so far is we have over 8K like users participating in the factory now, and we have over 235 emojis and so far in the last 3 days. So, which is actually very huge. So, and we are hoping like the army keep growing, people keep referring more people to the factory. But yeah, that's more like the factory updates. So yeah, so people, guys, if you haven't heard of the factory, we shared the link in the comments earlier. So just join the factory via the link. So and if you have any issues, if you need any support on like how to get started or how to get onboarded, just join our Discord and Telegram community or text us on X. We are also active on X as well to respond to comment. Our modes are available and active on our Discord and our community to answer any questions you have. Yeah, so that's the factory alpha I have for you guys. So and I'm going to be announced because on every community calls we always reward 3 participants that joins that follow to the end and participate in the call. So our winner for today is Ernest, Bobby, and Oluwashio. So to claim your reward, just go to our Discord and Telegram community. Go to our Discord community, open a ticket to and our support team will be there to like respond to you. So and lastly, which I'll be talking through is the the factory, the secret word, yeah, the secret word for the factory. So for those who are participating in the factory currently and you join the call, the secret word to claim points for joining the community call is airdrop. So I will text it in the chat and I will pin it in the call before we close up. But yeah, that's the factory alpha from my end. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Omani. Again, everyone, Carolina, Keith, Julian. I know Chris just he had out. Very, very much appreciate your time. And guys, that is it. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, DM us for anything that you want to learn. Of course, join the Telegram, join the factory, join Discord, and I will see y'all later. And y'all have a beautiful weekend and please stay safe. All right, guys. Peace.
Have a good one.